that's the answer to me. I do believe that God talks to you through your heart and your passion, and that's what you're supposed to listen to. We limit ourselves to guidance through words, and we want sometimes God to deliver an instruction book and say, do this, but there's language, and communication is everything. It's life. And so if you're on a spiral downward and you've got negative self-talk happening, that's a sign that that's the wrong direction and that's not the voice to listen to. But the thing that makes your heart sing is what you're supposed to do.
Welcome to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. LaChelle Wieme, a peak performance coach and business strategist dedicated to helping you see what's possible within you, the blind spots that are holding you back, and the solutions to ensure success and fulfillment without the hustle. I use my secret sauce of metaphysics, brain science, and scripture to work with God to manifest your ideal life and business. If you're ready to create massive forward momentum in your business and bust through the blocks that drag you down, join me on the Spiral Up journey and create the clarity, confidence, and consistency to become the CEO that lives your life by design. It's time to create the sustainable impact, income, and time freedom you desire faster. Now is the time to spiral up.
Hey friends, welcome back to the Spiral Up podcast. I am your host, Dr. LaChelle Wieme. Today, we are going to get a chance to have a really candid, beautiful conversation with my new friend, Olivia de Sousa. You guys, she is a beautifully talented musician, a singer-songwriter. She's also an author, and she has so many amazing nuggets of wisdom to share with all of us today. Olivia, thank you so much for being here. It's so fun to have you.
Oh, I am so excited to be here. And I love that everyone, she actually in real time plays the intro before the podcast. I just got to hear it. And as you're about to find out, as you get to know me, music and words and everything is my jam. And I am so pumped after listening to that intro.
Yes, right. I love it. I love that you feel the energy that I want you guys all to feel. That is so amazing. So Olivia, why don't you kind of expanded on it a little bit, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you are doing, how you're serving the world? Like, tell us what's lighting you up these days.
The thing that's getting me motivated to go on podcasts at the moment is my latest book that I have written. But as you often say, let go and let God. The thing that God keeps telling me, the thing that my heart keeps telling me, which is how I think God speaks to us, is through our hearts and our passions, is words and music. And so all through my life, I've kept wanting to do words and music. And that's how this book came to be. My most recent thing that happened to me that led to what I'm doing now is I was in the podcasting space myself, and I was a podcast manager. And that was doing well. That was a good, successful business that was a steady income. And the reason I was in it is because the part that I love is supporting people like you. I found that I was attracting beautiful people that have a podcast because they are genuine and they have a message and they want to share the world. So I loved it for that reason. But what didn't suit me so well, to be honest, is especially perhaps with me individually, my personality, but also just generally having ADHD and the whole, it's a lot remembering when they have to give it, guiding them to when they have to give it to you so you can think in terms of how long do I need to edit it to get it in ready in time and to meet the deadline and to have it scheduled with plenty of time. And it's a lot of scheduling production stuff.
There's a lot of moving parts in podcast production for sure. And then I did my own for a long time before I had my producer come in. And yes, for sure, there's lots of moving parts.
And so I had someone helping me and I had an assistant, but I just found the whole managing of the thing just not what I'm designed for. It didn't feel natural. It didn't feel like me. And I always thought, I'm going to fix that. I'm going to tinker with the structure of my business. I'm going to move to different sort of services that I can do that will take me away from that a bit more. I'm going to transition at some point. And then I had a couple of little things go not perfectly well, a couple of things. And then, but there was a third thing, a final straw, which kind of is a blessing. It was a wake-up call. So myself and my assistant had got everything in something had gone a little bit late because life happened and the recording didn't get to me at the usual time that it did, so we had to work extra hard, but we pumped it out. We got everything ready. It was there. I had everything, and then the last piece of it was to be scheduled, and I just delegated that bit and then closed the tab in my mind. I went,
Uh-huh.
my assistant, "Can you actually schedule that out?" And then closed the tab in my mind, breathed out, relaxed, and but somehow she didn't see the message. And then I went to bed, and then I woke up at about 1 a.m. in the morning, and I love a meditation. I create meditations, so sometimes I'll just wake up in the middle of the night and go, I'll put a meditation on as I go back to sleep. And so I reached for my phone, and I saw a message there that had been there since like 10:30 p.m. and somebody saying, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to bother you, but it hasn't been scheduled." And I knew that it was supposed to go live at 5 a.m. that morning. And
Uh-huh.
I'm seeing it at 1:30 in the morning. I'm like, "Oh." And I dragged myself out of bed and I did everything, scheduled it. It, of course, didn't go perfectly to plan because using Buzzsprout, she uses all these footnotes. Great dynamic advertising, great feature, by the way. But it just meant that the show notes were getting truncated, and I had to figure out how to get the show notes down to the.
Yes.
And so there's just like it took like an hour. So
Oh,
I'm
no.
sitting there at 2:33 in the morning, and I just went, "This is it. This is it." And it was such a blessing because I went, "It's not going to change,
Mhm.
and this is not what I'm meant to do, and this is like a blessing." I always knew that there was a time that I would transition out of it, and I thought it would happen like in a sensible way. I thought it would happen like I would just shift my product suite to something that was not so time based. Maybe I'd do some courses and coaching and other sides. And I just went, "No, I'm not supposed to do this. I have to leave, and I have to leave now." And I just had this absolute clarity, and I had to do it, and I had to act. And so, like, within 2 weeks, I'd advised everybody. I was conscious that I didn't want anyone to lose out of it, so I
Mhm.
connected them directly to my assistant. And I'm like, I didn't want my assistant to be like, "Oh, she hasn't got a wage anymore," or anything. So in actual fact, she'll make more money because she's cutting me out. And I went, "This is it. I'm out. Done." And I also had the book that I was working on, and so maybe that was divine intervention that it all happened around the same time because I'd
Uh-huh.
already been working on the book, which I will hold up for anyone that sees it on YouTube.
Yes.
The book of word spells. And I use this, like I literally the word spells. It's so interesting that your podcast is called Spiral Up because we can spiral up or we can spiral down. And
Mhm.
I think we're all human. Look, I
Yes.
think we're in the age of truth, and my word for the year is authenticity, by the way. So
Mhm.
so I'm not about getting on a podcast and going, "Hey, I'm a guru and I'm perfect and come follow me and have your
Yeah.
10,000, $50,000 months." And what I'm here to be, I'm in the trenches with you, and I'm letting go, and I'm letting go God, and I'm trusting, and I feel so happy and fulfilled. And like, so I made up a mantra, like even in this life change that I've done, I've gone, "I am safe to make a change. I am safe to try. I can't remember it now, but like I'll make up a mantra
Mhm.
so that I literally spiral up, and so that I feel
Yes.
safe, and so that I trust my inner guidance, because our negative thoughts are
Mhm.
liars. That's my belief. That's
Yes.
ego.
Yes.
That's the one that'll get you into a stress spiral.
Mhm.
But our heart and our love and our intuition, that is literally our tutor, our guidance.
Mhm.
That's God. That's guidance. That's the divine. And so these mantras are collections that I've written over time. And yeah, I think I'm getting off track, but
Yeah. No, it's
the,
and I
the
like one of the things that I wanted to just acknowledge from your story is how similar mine was when I left my lucrative anesthesia career. And it was a good job. Like I really did enjoy my job. I loved my job. I went to school for 100 years. It felt like
Oh my
what I
God.
did.
And it's so
Um,
prestigious. I mean,
and it's like there was a part of me that knew that I was supposed to do something else, something different than what I was doing in medicine. And I found that I was so resistant to it because in my mind, it had to be a certain way, right? So in my mind, I was going to cut down to half time at the hospital so that I could do that and, work on all my other things. It just wasn't happening. And I hit roadblock after roadblock. And then all of a sudden, one day, it was like the final straw. And I'm like, this is not going to happen. Like HR was like, LaChelle, this is never going to happen. And I had to just like, okay, then I need to do this. And I resigned. And it's like, just like you said, these are tiny little nudges. And then all of a sudden there's this like the clear thing. And it just felt different inside. And I'm like, all right, let's go. And as soon as I made that decision, all of a sudden things started happening super fast. Like my husband is very conservative and he's not a risk taker. And the fact that he was like giving me his blessing was like a miracle in itself. And all these things started to transpire. And I feel like once I made the decision, like I said, everything else started to fall into place. Did that kind of feel the same way for you?
It has. It has. I've been very blessed. Sometimes you want to have the what do you call it? The trampoline, when you're on a tightrope, what do they call it? The net. You want to have that, the safety net. That's what I'm
Yes,
looking
yes,
for.
yes.
You want to have that in place before you make a decision, and then suddenly you have that clarity that no, you just have to jump. You
Yeah.
have to jump first.
And I mean, I think that, we probably both I had, various different like manifestations, I guess, of that safety net, but it didn't look the way that I had thought it was gonna. And for me, it once I made the decision, I feel like things started to fall into place, but that didn't mean, Olivia, that my mind didn't start to spiral down sometimes. It didn't mean that I didn't think, what the heck am I doing? And, start to wonder if this was really the best choice, because like we had a good job, you had a thriving business, and you literally just change direction, like you pivoted, right? And so tell me a little bit about that inner dialogue that had to happen in order for you to be able to do this, and anything that you want to share that was just like real and authentic in this space.
I guess I coach myself through it with my I walk my talk. So,
Yes.
and I think I've been doing it in ways without even realizing it. It's only this book I wrote without knowing I was writing a book, which is a blessing in itself. And it's just whenever I came up with a situation, or I'd either journal and it would accidentally come out as poetry, or I'd find myself in a spiral and I'd write something. And then very close to when I was closing the business, it was just there would be school holidays, so my focus was off the business because I had to be on the kids, and that sort of gave me some sort of permission to go, I've had this idea, I'm running with it, and I started writing the book. And as in, the book was written, all I had to do is put the structure around it about this story about why I came up with this mantra and how you could possibly use it. And so then it all culminated together. It was like divine intervention, and I found that I'd share it on social media, and that took bravery, because it's one thing to do it for yourself and have all these ideas about, I write word spells. You could call them word spells or prayers or whatever you want to call them, but
I like it's catchy. Yeah, I love
it. And it's one thing to do it privately, but it's another thing to stand out publicly and say it. So yeah, 1 minute I've got this safe business of the podcasting and doing everything normally, and the next minute I'm publicly talking about what had been my personal private thing. There was one thing that wasn't quite private, but it felt a bit private. I had been recording them because I started out recording them for myself to listen, so that I'd have my positive self-talk for myself, doing the dishes or whatever. And then I had the idea that, this could help other people. So I started putting them on Insight Timer for other people to use, which was interesting itself. I'm just looking back at how things work out without you realizing, because then from that, I start getting reviews that I could then use in the book that I didn't know I was going to write. And then I had the book, and then I had a few things fall over in the business. I went, oh my God, it's time to close it. And I've just gone fully into just trusting my intuition and not necessarily exactly knowing what that means, because I think you talk about having a bird's eye view and looking at your life with a bit of a a distance. And I tried to do that, but I also realized that I can't to a certain extent. That's where God comes in. You can see the whole picture, and we can try to create a linear plan of what's going to happen, but we can't know that we're going to cross paths with Dr. LaChelle, end up on her podcast or whatever. So far, what I've done is just trust. And one thing I know that my guidance is that I'm here to do is write words, whether it's in lyrics or songs or books, and then just put it out in the world and then let God. So that's what I'm doing. I haven't got a particularly grand plan with this book. I love sound healing. I love drumming. I've got a drum behind me there. So at some stage, I'm thinking I'll probably put something out in the world with that. But my short-term thing, because I quit my job and my business and all of that, is that working with children. I've done that since my son was born, and he's now 11. And I had a break after COVID and having a second child and all of that, but I've got back into it last year. And I write, so it's the same theme that keeps coming in different forms. The songs I write, and it has not been intentional, they end up like that, end up being like positive affirmations to music. So if the kids are singing that, they're going, I'm me, it's just so cool. I'm me, it's so unreal. Or I like me no matter what, and I like you no matter what. So I'm always writing affirmations in one way or another. So I've been focusing on writing children's music. I am now working with children. So that's been my safety net that's come and saved me. I'm working with a disability service called Urala here in Australia, and I'll be supporting kindergarten teachers and being in places where children are and where children with special needs are, which is incredible because this job just sort of presented itself to me through a friend. And that, I think, I already had in mind, and I already have written some songs that help with children with special needs. I've got my own children with their own things that they have to deal with. And so I've already written some songs so that children understand differences, and like why some kids will need to have the headphones on, earmuffs on, and why some kids are different, and why some kids flap their arms and regulate themselves and all that sort of stuff. I've got songs about I can use my voice, which is teaching them to speak up if they're being groomed and that sort of stuff. So these themes keep coming to me to use my voice, which is why your interesting little thing that you've sent me that I will look into, the inner voice, everything about the voice. So I'm just following my intuition, following my guidance, and seeing where it lands and trusting that it'll reach the people it needs to trust. And that if we all do that, if we all follow our hearts and do whatever it is. So if someone's listening and they might not be into necessarily writing words or songs, or they might be, but if they have their thing that's been niggling at them that's in their heart, they don't need to know where it lands. They just know that that's the thing they're supposed to do and put it out in the world, because even if you just never know.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's so much that you've said as far as the intuition and allowing God to just lead you one tiny step at a time. And when you're open and allowing him to do that, he will send people and opportunities and conversations to you that are going to take you into alignment with that. And it sounds like you've been able to follow those nudges and recognize the themes within you of what you love to do, what lights you up, what you're good at, what comes easily to you. How can you use that in service to the world and allow for everything else to start falling into place? And then he will send you the job. He will send you the clients. He will send you the conversations like you and I had. I mean, before we were recording, Olivia and I were chatting about one of the technologies that I use with my clients, which helps them to discover what their emotional blocks are that are stuck in their bodies, and they listen to prescribed music that releases those blocked emotions out of their body. And it also creates an affirmation that uses binaural hertz and offset beats to help to get those affirmations in the subconscious. Like, that's a conversation that Olivia and I, had naturally because of what she does. And it's like God just brings people together and brings conversations together at the exact right time if you're open to it. And I think that when you talk about intuition, I would love for you to give the audience a little bit more insight into what you believe, has helped you to really tap into your intuition, and how could they do the same?
it's funny how I communicate. I communicate in words and songs. Many years ago, I think probably a couple of decades ago, if I'm honest, I wrote a song. Well, I wrote the words. I'll give my brother the credit. He wrote the music, and this line is like a bit of a guiding North Star, and it's your greatest dreams come true. The passion inside you will lead you on the journey you're about to start. Go with your heart and you can touch the sky, because you were meant to fly, and you'll find magic in a place where you belong. That's what I keep talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That song's called Magic, and that's one of my regular opening songs when I work with kids. That's the answer to me. It's I do believe that God talks to you through your heart and your passion, and that's what you're supposed to listen to. That's it. So I think we are created with guidance, and we're so accustomed to words, and I use words, I'm not against them, but we limit ourselves to guidance through words, and we want sometimes God to deliver an instruction book and say, do this, but there's language, and communication is everything. It's life. And so if you're on a spiral downward and you have got negative self-talk happening, that's a sign that that's the wrong direction, and that's not the voice to listen to. But the thing that makes your heart sing is what you're supposed to do. That's why people have such trouble with the concept of following your excitement. I think you're supposed to follow the thing that lights you up, not excitement as in addiction or
totally.
But the thing that lights your soul up.
Like I think about like my book that's on the shelf back there, Get Out of God's Way. It's literally designed in the framework of desire, decide, do. Recognizing the desire that God places on your heart as the North Star that's leading you towards where he wants you to go, and making the decision that I am going to declare that I'm going to figure this out, right? Maybe that is, I'm going to take the next step. I'm going to learn the thing. I'm going to talk to the person, but I'm making the decision that I'm going to do it. And then I follow through and do it. And it all starts with the desire. And I think that so oftentimes we are blocked by our logic. And you've mentioned several times how you feel it in your heart. I talk about this a lot, you guys, is this heart-brain coherence. Oftentimes what happens is that our brain is meant to keep us safe, and our logic will use things that is in alignment, I guess, with the beliefs that we've had our whole lives. And if those beliefs are right or wrong, it doesn't matter. It just follows it. And so if you have been believing your whole life that you're not worthy, or that you're not good enough, or who do you think you are, you're going to continue to find thoughts that are going to align with those beliefs. And what we need to do is allow for our heart to be able to be open and listen to God speaking to our heart. And people don't realize, Olivia, and maybe you already know this, but we have 40,000 neurons, brain cells in our heart muscle. And that there's actually more communication that goes from our heart to our head than there is from our head to our heart. And if people are stuck in the spiral of downward spiral of negative thinking, you think that you have to just muscle through and think different thoughts. But really, if you can just tap into your heart and allow God to calm your heart space, that coherence can allow for your brain to start getting into sync. And now all of a sudden you're going to be able to think more clearly and allow for those positive thoughts to come in. And I love how what you describe is exactly what I talk about, but just in a different way. And I also love how, your book of word spells and your beautiful music that you do is such a beautiful demonstration of affirmations, because affirmations are such a powerful tool when it comes to reprogramming our brain, neuroplasticity, allowing new brain pathways to be formed with what we want it to do, instead of, the negative self-talk that's been running on repeat like a broken record for our entire life. And the thing that I've noticed over and over again is that affirmations work better when they are repetition and added to emotion. And when you add that beautiful music and the repetition through the song, like that is like the secret sauce to affirmations right there.
That's why I loved the intro. I was like, oh my God, this is my thing. But absolutely, so with the book, I think with the book they're in rhymes, and I find the rhymes also help to bypass the negative reactions that we can otherwise have of, no, that's not true. But like, I feel like
Yeah.
it creates the upward spiral, and music is powerful as well. And music has different energies depending on what you're after. Like, I've got a song which is next level me. I'm stepping in a next level me. So it's like kick ass sort of vibes. Whereas sometimes you want then there's other things where it's like, you are love, and it's all calm and all of that. So there's all these different emotions, and yeah, music is definitely a medicine. And also, I just wanted to touch on, because with all the things that we were talking about, trusting your heart, I just wanted to share my story a little bit, because it might help someone else if they can recognize themselves in that. When I was a child, I always wanted to be a singer, but I was so up here in my brain. I was so sensible. I don't know why, as a child, why did I get caught up in being so sensible so early? But I was way too sensible. And I heard the stories that I thought, if I'm to be a singer, I wanted to be like a pop star, if I'm honest. And that was embarrassing, because I would hear the stories that like only 1% make it, and how embarrassing to want to be that 1%. Oh my God. I'd look so silly. And so I never admit I'd sing in my bedroom, but I'd never tell anyone. And I never auditioned for anything at school. But I just tell this story to tell you this is about not listening to what's in your heart. And then sometimes life reflects something to you. So there was a couple of moments, there was someone who, I think she was psychic or something. I don't know if you believe in that kind of thing, but it actually doesn't matter. The point is what my heart told me in reaction to what she said. So somebody looked at my palm and said, I see music. I see lots and lots of music. And I remember it to this day, because something in my heart just lunged and went, ah, and I still kept it buried. And I didn't listen. That's the thing you've got to listen to. Or like when I was like 17 and someone said, do you want to be in a band? And they didn't know if I could sing or not. And I just went and froze. And I remember it to this day, because that thing inside you. So I think that's the heart, and the whatever it was, just believing some sort of message that I'd taken into my brain and trying to be so sensible. That's the brain is not the heart is more intelligent. The heart knows more. The heart knows, like I've heard a saying and I love it. The brain thinks, the heart knows. Go with what you know, even if you can't understand it all. Yeah.
Well, and that's exactly what I teach. So I have a framework that I take all my clients through called the flow state money method. And one of them is really learning how to trust their discernment. And it's really learning how to trust their body and being able to recognize what's a yes and what's a no, and being able to ask God literally yes or no questions and know with 100% certainty that it's a yes or a no. And it really comes down to feeling into your body and knowing that this is what he's pulling you towards versus where he's making you shrink back against untruth, right? And it all comes down to our body and really allowing ourselves to slow down enough to be able to let it speak to us and for us to trust it. And we have so many runaway thoughts on repeat in our mind all the time. And if we can try to just put that on the shelf for just a moment and really tap into our body is going to be able to tell us, yes, this is something that I want you to lean into, or no, this is not for you, or no, not yet. And I think that what I want all of you guys to know, and what Olivia is so beautifully demonstrating here, is that I don't want any of you guys to ever think that you need to have a guru outside of yourself. Your highest self and God is always guiding you. And it's just a matter of you learning how to trust yourself. And if you hear something, even if it feels different than what you've been taught or different from your belief system, if you get a lit up, pulling into truth feeling in your body, I want you to listen to that, because it is literally God helping you to know who you are and how you can trust your inner knowing. And I think so many times, don't you think, Olivia, that people are looking for everybody outside themselves to tell them what to do or to help them see things. And once we can learn how to trust that, he will bring us one breadcrumb after the next breadcrumb after the next down the path that we're supposed to be. And that's exactly where you are. It's so beautiful.
I just am like, note to Dr. LaChelle's editor, oh my God, can you just grab that bit and put that little clip on social media or something? That was so beautifully articulated. Oh, that was beautiful. How am I supposed to follow that? That was gorgeous. That was so beautiful. Yes, I think I sense that we are in a time where we are learning that we can trust ourselves and trust our bodies, because I think we have wanted to do the right thing and we didn't know that the answer was inside us. There's, we were taught to believe in God, and I do believe in God, obviously, but we were taught to believe in it like there's an external rule book somewhere.
Yeah.
And then we've been looking for the rule book all our lives and hoping and stressing ourselves because we're looking out there for whether we're doing it right or wrong, or whether God or something is judging everything. And now we're in this age where we're beginning to understand, it's within. God is with it, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, the guidance, the divinity, it's inside us. And I'm actually supposed to trust my heart. I'm not supposed to disregard those feelings I was having. That is the guidance. So I just think you just articulated.
Yeah.
So
oh my gosh, I know, right? Like we could go on and on. So Olivia, is there anything else that you feel like you really want to make sure that you share with the audience before we kind of wrap up our conversation? I want to make sure that we've gotten all of your beautiful nuggets of wisdom out of you today.
Maybe I should just share something with them. I did, one thing I do before a podcast meeting is I've got my meetings are successful, everybody wins. And I like, it's just a reminder to get into the fun side of it and to remember that we're guided by our guides and it will all go well, rather than going, will I go well? Will I remember what I'm supposed to talk about? It's just to shift the focus. But maybe I'll just do go to I am enough, so that I can remind everyone listening that you are in fact enough. Where is it? Page 63. Now, on Insight Timer, I do it with a pause so that you can actually repeat after I say it, but I will skip that part for now. But this is my gift. I am enough. Love is all I need. Love is all I am. Everything is in me. I am enough. Be still and breathe. I am guided. I am free. I am enough. I am safe. All is well. I create. I am enough. God is in me. God is all around. I am free. I am enough. Everything is okay. I'm on my path. I know the way. I am enough. I am peace. I let go. I release. I am enough. The power is in me. All is well. I guarantee. I am enough. I am here and now. I receive. I allow. I am enough. I shine my light. I cast out dark to set things right. I am enough. I trust my heart. It guides me home. It knows the path. I am enough. Fear is not real. I let it go so I can heal. I am enough. I choose to play. For joy and love, help guide my day. I am enough. Solutions come. Don't need the how. I trust in the one. I am enough. I declare it be. It is done in love. It is destiny. I am enough.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And it's so perfect for the people who listen to this podcast. You guys, you know what I talk about. You know that is so aligned. So Olivia, thank you for blessing us with your beautiful words that you've written, and the way that you speak them is music alone. So thank you so much for that. And you guys, make sure that you check out the show notes so that you can know how to follow Olivia, how you can get her book, and just keep an eye on this woman, because she's so talented that I know that there's going to be lots of things coming out of her world to bless all of us to be able to follow our hearts and to live our best, biggest life. So Olivia, thank you so much for being here. And you guys, thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you so much. Bye.
so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Each honest review helps me spiral up so that I can serve you even better. Whether you're feeling a lack of impact, income, or time freedom, or perhaps you're just ready for massive momentum in your business, let's chat. Apply for a breakthrough call so that you can gain clarity, identify what's holding you back, and make a plan to spiral up. Head on over to im-lifebydesign.com/breakthrough or access the link in the show notes. For immediate support, log into our community, the Better Club. We focus on inspiration, tactical guidance, and support. This is a community that wants to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business, and we're going to help you do the same. Let's spiral up, friends.